This is Greg DeFrancis at the Montshire Museum of Science. It's long been understood that a connection to land and nature is a necessary part of developing a personal responsibility toward the environment, a desire to protect it, care for it, use it responsibly, and preserve its unique gifts for future generations. What American conservationist Aldo Leopold would refer to as an ethos of environmental stewardship. Leopold understood this and shared stories of connections to the land in his 1949 collection of essays, A Sand County Almanac. Whether listening to geese returning to the fields on his Wisconsin farm every March, or connecting the natural history of his woodlot with his own family's history as he sawed through a 200-year-old oak, Leopold's environmental ethics were steeped in deep personal experiences in the natural world. My own connection began as a child living on a small lake in North Jersey. I spent my days catching turtles, climbing trees, and digging for worms and salamanders in the local woods. This grew into an interest in the environment as a young adolescent and more serious studies in ecology as a university student. But what are the other starting points, those formative experiences that people have had as children or young adults that move them on the path towards environmental consciousness and desire to be a good steward of the earth? I've asked several people this question in Vermont, New Hampshire, and Bhutan, and these are the responses I got.
When I was little, I used to go out turkey hunting with my uncle. I was probably 6, and so I wasn't actually going turkey hunting. But we would wake up super early, and I would have slept over at their house the night before. So we'd get up, and it would be really dark out. I had these fleece camouflage. I had this little fleece camouflage outfit that my aunt had made me, and then I had this little orange backpack. And so I would always sneak my stuffed animals into the backpack, and they'd be like, "Don't bring anything that you don't want to lose." And then I'd put all my favorite stuffed animals in it. And so we never got anything any of the times that I went, because I would just talk the whole time and be super loud. But I just remember being out there, and I was with these people that I really cared about, and it was just sort of our time together. And then my favorite part of the whole trip was when I could finally take out the thermos and pour myself a cup of hot cocoa and sit there and drink the cocoa, and I'd just be sitting with my uncle, and we'd be chatting about whatever 6-year-olds talk about, but just being out in the woods all morning and then coming back for a big breakfast.
I used to go to collect mushrooms in the forest with my dad, and then I really used to enjoy it, but I don't do it now, so I really miss it.
Like I said, hunting's in my family. I'm passing it down to my children already. I have a daughter and a son, which I don't mind if they don't want to take an animal's life, because that's not what it's all about. It's about being in the outdoors. There's so much that people don't know what's in our woods that there is to see and there is to learn. That's more where I'm focused. I'm teaching, letting the things that my grandfather taught me, my father taught me, pass it down through.
My sister and I would go out on our own and play, usually across the road in the brook. And it was kind of away from our parents, they couldn't see us, so it felt like an adventure, I guess. And I would make this challenge of crossing the brook. So we'd try to find a tree that we could cross the brook, or if it was winter, sometimes we'd walk on the ice. And it was sort of this challenge of not hurting ourselves, I guess, in the woods. But we would also make forts and climb trees, and so it was kind of like adventure.
Playing hide and seek with my brothers. We used to have kind of a small forest at the back of our house, so we used to play hide and seek, and then we used to climb the trees and hide in the branches. So I really used to have fun. That would be my favorite memory.
This was in my pre-primary school when I was maybe 7 or 8. So we had to go from our house to the nearest school, walking for about 1 hour. So one day, me and my friends, a bunch of bunch of kids, like 10 people, didn't go to school. We skipped school and then we went to the forest. So, and there was a lake. So we went there. The lake is called Tojao, which means the blind lake. We enjoyed so much that time.
Back in my village, we have like a couple of cows. My dad has a couple of cows, milk-giving cows, and like we set them out in the forest to free range, And they used to go to the forest and graze. And one day, one of our cows didn't come back, and like me and my dad like went to the forest for like I think at least 2 nights we were there to look for our cow, and it turns out that the cow had given birth and she just stayed back in the forest, and that was like so sweet. And while we were in the forest, we saw a lot of like other interesting animals like the musk deer and peacocks that are very common back in our village, and even like encountered snakes. And yeah, we had like a lot of we got to take a lot of wild bananas. We got to eat pick out berries and stuff like that. And yeah, it was one beautiful memorable moment related to forest and the environment, where we got to have direct link with the environment there.
In this story, you heard from
My name is Caitlin Burnett, and I'm from Conway, Massachusetts.
My name is Dustin Potter. I'm from here in Sharon. I lived here my whole life.
My name is Rachel Donegan, and I live in Lyme, New Hampshire.
My full name is Tashi Funso. Currently, I'm living in Thimphu with my wife and 2 children.
My name is Suraj Sundas, and I'm from Bhutan, from a small town called Samsi, which is southern part of Bhutan and a border town to India.
My name is Chingme Palan. I am from Bhutan. And I study at RTC, and I'm taking environmental management as my major.